Almost 2 years ago, ESPN laid me off. The moment was shocking and it broke my heart. Growing up, working at ESPN was my absolute dream job, and I was incredibly lucky to be able to live that dream for 4 years. I appeared on some of my favorite shows. I got to learn from some of the most talented, smartest people in the entire business, and every once in a while, I ended up on the TVs of every sports bar in America. So when I got that call that I was part of the company's layoffs, people started to send me texts as if I had died or as if my parents had died or a loved one had died. It was a really surreal moment. And in a way, I did lose someone. I lost a version of myself that had been chasing this dream for my entire adult life. For 2 years, ESPN blocked me from working. No writing, no TV, no starting this YouTube channel. I felt frustrated, sad, and angry. I had to do something that I hadn't done since I was 16 years old. I had to stop. And so I did the only thing that I could do. Sit back and enjoy watching sports as a fan again. But what I didn't realize at the time was that what felt like an ending was my life beginning to draft a completely new beginning. It became impossible to ignore the fact that sports had changed since I'd started pursuing this career. The more that I watched, the more that I read, the more that I scrolled, the more that I felt like something was fundamentally broken in sports today. Fans were angrier today than ever before in social media and in real life, and the conversations around sports felt stuck. The same hot takes over and over and over again. Sports were becoming a source of stress rather than joy, and I quickly learned that I wasn't alone. And so I kept asking myself, how did this happen? And most importantly, what's next? If you don't know me, my name is Joon Lee, and I've been working in sports for almost 15 years as a sports journalist, writing, reporting, and doing television. My love for sports led me to pursue this job, but sports is more than that for me. Sports is the way that I see the world. I moved to Boston from South Korea at 2 months old, and sports became my first language. While I was still learning English, I was watching Tom Brady, David Ortiz, and Paul Pierce. Sports became a bridge to make friends, to understand American culture, and to feel like I was a part of something bigger than just me. As Boston kept winning, I became a part of the most entitled generation of sports fans ever. And I didn't just study sports, I obsessed over sports. And when I realized that it was going to be hard to become a professional baseball player at 5'7", and I probably wasn't going to become the next Nomar Garcia-Parra or even the next Pokey Reese, I found the next best thing: telling the stories of the people who do play sports. At 16, I entered at the Boston Herald, spending time in the Red Sox, Patriots, and Celtics locker room, armed with a notepad and meeting my favorite stars and journalists. In college, I blogged about my favorite teams, writing into the void of the internet, hoping someone would read. At 21, I got my first job at Bleacher Report, traveling the world, covering the biggest moments in sports and meeting the biggest stars. And then at 23, I got the call. ESPN wanted to hire me. I'll never forget the first time I was on SportsCenter. It really felt like I had made it. And so I got to live that dream for 4 years, and it was an incredible ride. I will always appreciate every single moment I had working at ESPN. But now I'm here. And as I had the first opportunity to just sit back and watch sports as a fan for the first time in a decade, I noticed something. Sports media is broken. For decades, it felt like sports were always about more than just who won and who lost and the box score. Sports were a place to tell stories about underdogs and dynasties and heartbreak and redemption. And it feels like, at least right now, the entire industry has lost sight of that. And I've been asking myself one question over the course of the last 2 years as I've been unable to work. How do we fix this? First, it feels like every single ad, but also almost every segment now, is catered to just one thing: sports gambling. I'm not personally against gambling, but the industry's grip on sports media has completely changed everything. The big wake-up call for me was the gambling scandal with Shohei Ohtani's translator. When the news broke, it felt like fans were completely suspicious of every single media outlet because they all get paid by sportsbooks. And it's not just Vegas lines on SportsCenter anymore. It's odds integrated into broadcasts, reporters covering sports like financial analysts, and athletes signing deals with sportsbooks. Fans don't know who to trust anymore. Even reporters I know personally, like Jeff Passan, who I know is one of the most trustworthy people in the business, is viewed with suspicion. It matters when every close game is met with conspiracy theories and joy turns into anger. We're losing the whole essence of sports right now. The excitement, the unpredictability, the magic, all of it feels like it's slowly slipping away because of how much of the industry is now centered around gambling. Fans are constantly questioning, are reporters covering the games honestly? Are they just pushing hot take and gambling narratives? Are leagues prioritizing the interests of fans? Or are they just focused on maximizing the gambling revenue? We've seen scandals like this almost break sports before, from Pete Rose to Tim Donaghy, but now there's Jonte Porter and potentially Terry Rozier. And with the way that decisions are made now, the way that media covers everything, it's all clouded by money and gambling, just looming over everything. Second, it feels like when you tune into traditional sports media now, everything feels the same. It's a hot take debate about the same topics. If LeBron is the GOAT, if Jordan is better than him, if Patrick Mahomes is going to surpass Tom Brady. It makes sports feel like pro wrestling, and fans notice this. It feels like the same manufactured debates are happening every single day, and the shows that used to dive a little bit deeper are all getting canceled. I think it's why we're seeing so many amazing independent creators emerge on a place like YouTube or on TikTok. There's people like Kenny Beecham and Bailey at Foolish Baseball and Kofi. These creators are doing awesome things on YouTube, diving deep, exploring fandom, telling great stories in a way that traditional sports media isn't doing anymore. As a result of where traditional sports media still is, it feels like the majority of fans are still stuck on these same topics that all of us are tired of talking about. Because of these hot takes, it feels like nobody trusts anyone anymore. From fans to the media, to the athletes, to the leagues, trust is at an all-time low in sports. And this is hurting everyone involved in sports. And I think we can do better than this. But here's the incredible and crazy part. Sports have never been more interesting than they are right now. But if you looked at the headlines, it would feel like everything is falling apart. On the field, it feels like we're witnessing history every single night. Shohei Ohtani is doing something in baseball that we haven't seen since Babe Ruth, and he's doing it better. Patrick Mahomes might be the most talented quarterback we've ever seen. Victor Wembanyama is redefining what's possible for a basketball player on the court. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are elevating women's sports to a level we've never seen before. And Kylian Mbappe is already a global icon, and he's only in his mid-20s. And yet, if you watch traditional sports media, it would feel like, even though these incredible things are happening, that all of them are terrible for the future of sports. And beyond superstars, sports is way more international than it's ever been before. The NFL is playing games in Europe, MLB is playing games in Asia, the NBA is playing games in Paris, and these sports are starting to catch on around the world. And at the same time, it feels like global soccer has never been bigger in the United States. Across sports, we're seeing the entire landscape completely change, but it feels like no one is covering this incredible story happening in motion in front of our eyes. And despite everything I've said, good sports journalism still exists. The problem, though, is that most of it is completely behind a paywall and is hard for the average person to access. I have so many colleagues doing incredibly thoughtful work right now, but because most of it is behind a paywall, the loudest things that get through on social media for free happen to be the loudest takes. The stories are there, the talent is there, and the game is evolving beyond what we've ever seen before. But at the same time, it feels like the media, a lot of it, is still stuck in the past. So what are we going to do about it? Because I don't want to just sit here and complain, because that's the easy thing to do. I want to do something about it. That's why I'm launching this YouTube channel. I want to build a community that values the joy around sports. I want to build a community that reminds us why we fell in love with sports in the first place. I want to do deep dive stories. I want to do interviews with players, coaches, fans, executives that go beyond just what we see on the field. I want to do experiences that go beyond the wins and losses, because sports aren't just something to be watched. There's something to be felt. It's why I'm not going to be taking any gambling sponsorships on this YouTube channel, because I want to center trust again between me and you. I want to make sure that when I'm reporting something or I'm telling a story that you feel like you can trust that I have no exterior motivations motivating me to hold something back or to tell stories a different way. But most importantly, I want to make sense of what's happening in the sports world with you, because I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around everything that's changing right now. And I started off with something simple. I stepped into the batter's box against MLB veteran reliever Adam Ottavino to get a sense for what it's like to face a professional athlete in their craft. I want to get a sense for why hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in sports. So make sure to subscribe and follow me on social media to know when that video drops. This is just the beginning, but it's not my first time on YouTube. If you click into this YouTube channel, this is where in high school, before I was ever at ESPN or Bleacher Report, I was making videos about technology. I was reviewing iPhones and breaking down gadgets and talking about Apple rumors. I was just a kid in my room excited about sharing what I love. That excitement for making YouTube videos has never left me, and I want to bring that energy back to this channel, but this time for sports. I want to create a space where we can not only just share our love of sports, but we can make sports media fun again. And making sports media fun doesn't mean we're not going to ask serious questions or take sports seriously when we need to. But I really think that sports fans deserve more than this right now. And I hope that we can build it together. I believe we can make sports media fun again. And I can't do this alone. I mean, I don't want to do it alone. And so if you are tired of all the noise, if you miss feeling connected to sports, join me. Make sure to subscribe and follow me on social media. I've never been more excited about the future of sports, and I can't wait to share all of that with you. There's so many amazing stories that I can't wait to tell and share, and I hope you'll join me. I'll see you in the next one.